It feels like we've been climbing this mountain to this moment where it's my deep pleasure to introduce Isaac and Xochilt to the broader Peace First community, but more than that, to talk about this moment in Peace First history and what it means to have two interesting, amazing, committed leaders joining the organization at this point. And I want to start with you, Isaac, and invite you to share a little bit about your story and what brings you to this work, and what sparked an interest in applying for the co-CEO position at Peace First.
Whenever someone says my journey, I feel like my journey is split into two. I think there's a journey of a young boy from a mining town in Ghana, one that always dreamed about his home country and his culture and his upbringing, and then another that knew the immense opportunity it was to be in the US and the opportunities that were in front of him. And at some point, I think those two Isaacs met, and those two Isaacs became who you see before you today. And I know that I am just blessed with an amazing opportunity, but I know that there are people who don't have those same opportunities, and it is intentional. There's an intentional design to ensure that those people don't have those opportunities. And so for me, I do this work because it feels like if I don't, I'd be drowning underwater. And I love this work because it is my lifeline.
I think my own story comes from legacy, trailblazing, and siblinghood. I'm a Colombian Nicaraguan, both countries that are heavily conflict afflicted. I think of my own journey as someone that is able to take first steps that are difficult to take, and steps that will probably be mistakes. I am that person that is going to hit the wall and be happy to do so as long as I can tell those that are, walking with me where not to step. That's how I think about trailblazing, and that's also my story of social change. I have always seen myself as owing my own being to an entire collective. I have an incredibly stubborn love for my country and for my region, for my countries and for my region. And I think I've learned to see that at a global lens. And that's also something that brought me to Peace First. I'm like a reflector. So the light that is shown upon me, I really want to make sure that I share with others.
It is interesting having co-CEOs. And so would love to hear some thoughts about where you see Peace First going next and how you see doing this work together.
Well, I'll start with the co-leadership model. That's one of the things that drew me, that brought me to the organization. Co-leadership for me is about trust. And also my vision about Peace First is also trusting the journey. So in terms of vision, I don't think we're gonna do something entirely different, but I do think that we're both called into ensuring that we can start building the next step. So I do think that Peace First has an amazing structure that I already trust in it. And I think that vision that we have is about learning with the Peace First community and being able to facilitate also drafting that vision more collectively. Like, we can say right now what we will hope for. I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, but I'm a young person, young people's cheerleader too. So that also means that I'm really focused on learning. I want to see learning happen, to be able to show it, to be able to facilitate it.
For me, it's an honor to have an opportunity to lead side by side with someone who has their similarities, but very strong differences too. It's an honor to be in a position where I get to share power with a woman. It's an honor to share power with someone living in the global South. When you hear co-CEO, I hope to everybody watching that you also hear collaboration, you hear collective action, and you hear less burnout. If I could say anything to everybody in the Peace First community about the co-leadership model, the co-leadership model is going to work because we're going to do this as a whole entire family. It's not just going to be the two of us on some hill. We're getting down with wherever everybody else is, and we're pulling our sleeves up. I want to be clear and say this is not a, oh my gosh, we have new leadership, maybe they're going to change everything, we need to panic. Absolutely not. Xochilt and I want to get to know every single person that we can get to know, and learn what you want to build and what you want to see happen. And that's the beautiful thing about co-leadership, is that there's just more of us to love this community, and we intend to do that.
I feel like a lot of leadership these days is performative, right? It's this exhausting need to be awesome all the time. I'm curious, as you get ready to take on these new roles, where does fear sit? What are you most worried about?
I feel we're both grounded idealists or optimists. And there is a magic in grounded optimism, which is not us, showing ourselves as, oh my God, we're going to solve all your problems. We're just going to leave. We're going to be friends with everyone. We're just going to make everyone feel amazing. That's not realistic, and I really appreciate that Isaac, and I are very connected in that, authentic realization that this is going to take a learning curve.
My fear is that people in the Peace First community think that things should stay the same.
Maybe I'm just fearful of us not being able to learn the most important things about context that we need to learn at the time that we need to learn it. So that's something I'm going to thrive for, being able to know what's relevant to learn at what time, so we're able to respond to the needs of the community in an effective way.
Sometimes, even when there's a change in leadership, people adore the way that things were, and they become resistant to the possibility of new things blossoming in the garden, new bugs coming in to help germinate or whatever, and all those things. And I'm fearful that people will want to be the same exact way. But I'm hoping that Xochilt and I can build powerful, convincing stories that remind people that it's great to invite something new. It's great to build upon what was and see what can be. I think that's my fear, is that people who may want it to be exactly the same, but I think to grow, we can't be exactly the same.
In a phrase or sentence, what advice do you have for young people as they start their change-making journey? And then, Xochilt, I'd love to hear that same thing from you.
Commit yourself to learning, but then also remembering that it's not about permission. I don't need the permission of older people to change my community. I don't need the permission of people who are more experienced. What I need is their collaboration, their commitment, and their respect. We are inviting everybody on this planet to be a part of the change, and in a respectful and in a committed way.
Trust your time, your pace, your learning, and also your ability to overcome whatever it is that you're going through in order for you to make social change. That trust, that building that trust takes time, but is, I think, the most effective way to unleash your full potential.
My wish for both of you as you start this chapter of your journey is there's something really beautiful in the things that you don't know. Because all of those blank boxes are invitations to discovery, to invention, to collaboration, to wonder. And so I hope that you get to discover, to fill them in, to experiment, to create, because it is in the unknown and the unknowable that I think we get to reveal not only ourselves, but the world around us. Isaac, Xochilt, thank you so much for joining this final chapter, and I look forward to our work together as colleagues out there in the social change field. I look forward to being your biggest fan and to being that person that you get to call, to celebrate, to commiserate, and of course, homemade cookies whenever you need them.